Awesome. All right. So Fate is January 23rd from 9 to 1. It is still free. We're not doing tickets for that, but we do have a registration link for you to sign up to I should say, so that we can get your lunch, because you will have lunch included, and then we'll get that out. Watch social. We'll put it in the Lions and Legends Facebook group also. But in addition to that, I try to post it as much as I can between Instagram and Facebook and try not to be annoying. I also put it in Workplace. If you're with Real, you can have access to it there. So anyway, this is an event that's designed for you guys to be able to teach, invite anybody that you would like to it. So it is, all they need to do is register. That would be groovy. Let me mute some people. There we go. And then I think that's between Fate and Todd's event. I think those are the only two big announcements for today. Happy to say we don't have to spend a bunch of time in housekeeping. I'm going to launch into this because I really intend for today to be more shared dialogue, right? I want you guys to jump in and feel free to open your mics and talk. But if you're on the phone or doing something else, please keep your mic closed. That would make my heart so happy. A couple things that I want to say right off the bat is, first of all, Happy New Year. I'm super happy to see you. Very excited for what's happening in our world. I am very optimistic that particularly in the lending, title, and real estate part of the world, we will see a better year in 2024 than we did in 2023. And so can I just get a big fat amen and hallelujah for that? Because it is time for some good stuff to happen. We need to be all up in here having church or something to see if we can't make 2024 just crush the memory of 2023. So I've had the privilege of having a lot of conversations with a lot of different agents. Some of you are on the call today, and about how their year was. And you know what? I have seen two very distinct camps. One camp has said by far it was the hardest year they've ever had. Their business was down. It was a massive struggle. Yet they prevailed and they still were able to get some things done. They closed some business. It wasn't all loss. And then there's this other side that said, I just got so blown away by 2023. I felt like I could never catch up. I could never get even, never mind get ahead. And so I want to just encourage both parties, because I think what happened here is so many people had so many challenges and so many struggles, and not just with your business, but a lot of you really had some really difficult things to deal with in 2023. So I'm going to tell you that my word of the day or year last year was actually, I adopted a phrase, which is something the book tells you not to do. So don't do what I do what I say today. But my phrase was, I can do hard things. I was built for hard things. And primarily because I felt like it was going to be such a crazy year, we needed to gird up and be ready for difficult things. I'm not certain that that's how it went down. I kind of feel like some of it might have been prophetic, and I called some of these difficult things into my life just so I could figure out how to be strong and conquer them. So I'm just going to encourage you today, right off the top, don't choose that one unless you want something to really press you and challenge you in a way that you've never been pressed and challenged. So we are going to talk today about the one word that will change your life. And I've done this for so long, but I really feel like we spend all this time in New Year's resolutions, and we really spend that's exactly right, Reagan. I just saw your message in the chat. Be careful what you ask for. I feel like we do New Year's resolutions. Of the people who do them, 54% of them have halted by the end of January. So more than half of the people that make it. Now, here's the thing that's funny. Of that 54%, do you know how many in a percentage wise actually get to the end of the month? It's significantly lower than the 54%. So it doesn't take long, but usually by the end of Q1, which is just a mere 90 days, right? All of those things are a thing of the past. I also think that those New Year's resolutions go hand in hand, excuse me, sometimes with our business plans. we start out January and we're like, let's go, let's make it happen. I got this. And on January 4th, we're like, who, what happened? Where are we? So I feel like we need to do some things where we say, okay, let's simplify things a little bit. And yes, we have a good business plan, and yes, we have a good intention, and we have goals. But I think in addition to all of that, we need to have a focus. And so, here's my question for you. How many of you guys, and this is open mic time, how many of you guys make New Year's resolutions? Anybody? Nobody?
I hate the word resolution.
But then you don't get to have an opinion. You just have to tell me yes or no.
Yes, but I don't call them that.
That's fine. Anybody else? Reagan says no.
I call them commitments. I make New Year's commitments every year.
Okay, cool. Commitments. There we go. Anybody else make New Year's resolutions, commitments, promises, whatever? All right, for the whopping 3 or 4 of you that shook your head, and for the rest of you that put something in, let me ask you this. How good are you at walking those out for the full year?
Terrible.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty.
Not.
Yeah. So we're just not, we're not made for that. And I don't know why. And I think sometimes it might be because these New Year's resolutions that we make are just hopes and wishes that, maybe this year will be the year that I can just amp myself up to get something going. And I think what happens is it doesn't happen because we're not actually changing a behavior, right? We still have all these dreams, wishes, and hopes, but we haven't done anything about our behavior. We've spent a lot of time this last quarter really talking about behaviors, decisions that we make, and then actions that we put behind our decisions to really deploy what we want to have happen so that we get the results that we're looking for. We've talked about that quite a bit. So for most of us, New Year's resolutions are really ineffective. And then I think, okay, if I parallel that with your business plans, how many of you honestly look at your business plan that you built last quarter, you look at it regularly? And by regularly, I mean daily, weekly, monthly, even. I'll give you that. Anybody?
I do.
Okay, that's 2. There's 22 people on the call. That's 2 of you. Okay, you're proving my point. Congratulations to the 2 of you. Rock stars, way to go. We need to rub off. You need to rub off on all of the rest of us. I'm a massive live and die by my business plan. But my business plan doesn't look like everybody else's business plan typically. Mine is a to-do list of things that I need to achieve. And from that, I figure out what work I need to do to make that happen. Because if I have this elaborate 58-page document, I'm not going to look at it. I just won't. So for me, I do all of that work, but then I drop it down to a summary. I can see my little summary has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. 8 things that I need to accomplish, or that I believe that will help me accomplish what my big target goal is. Okay. So that works for me. But a lot of times we don't use our business plans and we don't use our New Year's resolutions to do something effective behaviorally that changes where we go. So here's what I want to propose to you today. What if we could take all your big business plans, all your hopes and dreams and your New Year's resolutions, and we could narrow them down to a singular word or thought. Good grief. So here's the thing. Have any of you guys done the one word before? Has that been alive?
Multiple years with you, starting in 2011.
Yeah. So we've been doing it a long time, right? Like
Yeah.
I think the book came out in 2017. But this is just a practice that I've had probably most of my adult life. I can't even go back that far. So we're just going to leave it at that. But okay, good. So there's a handful of you that have done this. Have you read the book, or have you just grabbed a word and said, I'm going to go for that?
I didn't know there was a book. I've just
Yeah.
Give us the book, Kimberly. I didn't realize that either, but I love a one-word thing.
It's called The One Word That Will Change Your Life. Like, you can Amazon, Google it. It's literally, if you listen to it on Audible, I listen at 2 times the speed normally. So it's about 40 minutes. So it might be an hour and a half to listen to. but it explains the whole concepts, right? So a lot of us have picked this up by osmosis. We've given up the New Year's resolution, but we want to have some sort of thing that we can focus on that's going to be life changing in some way. And part of the way the book talks about it, he calls them dimensions. I don't like that word, so I'm just going to use areas. But there's 6 areas of our life that can be impacted, and that's the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, relational, mental, and financial. And so when we're looking at these, like, what should our word be? We want to see if we can't find a way for whatever that focal pointed word is to have an impact on us physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, relationally, and financially. So it's not just like you get a whim and go, oh, here's what I'm lacking, so I feel like that should be my word today. I think that when we do it like that, we don't stick to it any more than we stick to a New Year's resolution, because it's not that we're trying to satisfy some sort of hole that we have. This is taking something and saying, hey, I need to focus on this because I need to get better at it. I want it to be something that will have an impact and change my life and the lives of these people that I encounter.
One
So
thing
the
that
book,
I do, Kimberly, just a tip.
yeah, go.
I take the one word and I make it my password.
Oh, excellent. We're going to get to how do we integrate this? And don't forget that, because that's a really, really smart way to go about this. I think when we talk about the word, it has to permeate our thinking. And so I'm not going to ask you guys to come up if you haven't gone through this before. I'm not going to ask you to have your word today, but here's what I will encourage you to do is at the end of this, if you feel like this is something that you can get behind, then I'm going to ask you to spend this next week thinking about what your word could be. And we're going to talk about how you do this. There's some questions you're going to need to ask yourself so you can get into a good relationship with your word, because it's going to be with you for a while. So the book talks about complexity versus simplicity. Like, I have all of these goals, all of these dreams. There are so many things on my to-do list I got to get done. And how do we funnel that down to saying, okay, something very simple? Here's 3 questions. So write these down. 3 questions to help you discover your word. And I'm kind of disappointed, Todd, that you're not writing these. What do you need? What do you need in your life? Right? Do you need deeper relationships? Do you need more free time? Do you need focus? Do you need to be more loving? Do you need all of those things? What do you need? What's lacking in you that you need? And then the second question is, what's in your way? What's going to keep me from getting more love, more kindness, more goodness, more money, more time, more whatever? What's in the way? And then third question is, what needs to go? What do I need to not do anymore so that I get what I need and I get things out of my way, right? So you'll see how these 3 questions just kind of rotate one into the other. So what do I need? So on a high level, I'm going to say this is something that you can do for you personally. I do it personally for me. What I need, what things are in my way, what needs to go. The disciplines around these things, you guys, is what's important. So what do I need? I mean, shoot, we could probably all put a list of easy. If I asked you right now, give me your top 5 needs, you're going to be able to fire those off pretty quickly. If I say what's in your way, that's going to slow you down a little bit, right? Oh, wait, what is keeping me? We need to spend some time analyzing this. And then what needs to go? What things are clogging up my life so that I can't have that pathway from what I need to getting what I need, right? And so I think when we look at that, you do this personally, but you could also do this as your family. If you are with your family and you have some goals or some things that you guys want to achieve as a family, this is a really good thing to help everybody kind of just get boiled right down to the final spot and have that theme or that word. And so you can use it in your organizations. If you're a team lead, you can certainly use it on your teams. You can use it in whatever groups you're in, whoever you're leading or whoever you're walking through life with. Good grief. Whoever you're walking through life with. There we go. You can use this. Okay. So it's not just this personal goal setting thing for you, it's something that can be shared. And here's the other thing that I'll say really quickly. When you have identified your word, we're going to talk about this a little more. You need the world to know what your word is, primarily because there's going to be some things that happen in your little brain that have to do with your reticular activator, right? We've talked about that before. It's this: if you stick your finger at the end of your nose and at the very top of your head, and you go right down to the center of your head, that's where your little teeny tiny reticular activator is. And it's in your brain, and it's this thing that says, hey, pay attention to this stuff. There's a lot of science around it, so I won't spend a lot of time with it. But what happens is when we become aware of something and we are cognitively aware, our brain is aware, then it starts to change like what we see. Our head looks up a little more, we see some things, we hear things that maybe we hadn't heard before. When we read certain things, they resonate in a way that they haven't resonated before. And so I think when we're talking about like how this shakes out for us, you really do figure out how it becomes something that is more internalized to you. You need outward reminders because initially this is going to be easy. I'm going to give you a quick example. One year I decided that I was brokering at the time. I was coaching a lot of people at the time. We had our own family going on at the time, like a lot of stuff happening. And I quite literally had my head down, and I got really annoyed when I would hear people say, opportunity is everywhere. And I'm like, opportunity is nowhere. I am so busy. I haven't even seen or heard or thought of an opportunity. And so I made the word opportunity my word of the year. And because I really was like, what am I missing? Right? So what do I need? I want opportunity. I want opportunity for growth. I want opportunity for our family. I want opportunity personally. Financially, I wanted opportunity, like everything. So I'm like, okay, opportunity is my word. So really what happened the very first year that I used the word opportunity was I became aware that yes, in fact, there are opportunities. That did not mean that I needed to pursue every opportunity. So this is kind of just a little life lesson around your word, right? They say also in the book that at the end of a year, let your word go. You're not trying to master this word. It's not trying to, get this massive command of and control of what this word means. So they say not to reuse the same word because you didn't feel like you finished. Well, I fight all the rules. And so the first year I was like, opportunity, I just need to be aware that there are opportunities. The second year I used the word opportunity, I looked at it from the perspective of what am I supposed to do with these opportunities that I encounter, right? So really it was, I had an awareness now that there are opportunities. Number two was, what do I do with them? How do I process these opportunities? And so that year was where I walk out every single opportunity until I personally have a definitive yes or no. I did not make any decision related to opportunity based on, well, I think it might be a good idea. I told myself at the beginning, I need to have a very firm answer, a firm belief. The answer is either yes or no. And when I did that, it became, laser focused. It was crazy. And ironically, in some of this, there were a couple of opportunities that I had to do some things. And one of them, I just was vacillating and I could not find a solid reason for yes. And I couldn't find a solid reason for no. I just sat in this kind of mid-size or mid-space abyss. And I got a phone call. And somebody completely unrelated to everything that I was balancing, somebody calls me and says, hey, I just wanted to let you know this happened. And my husband was in the car with me. I'll never forget it. We were driving up north, I think to go to the cabin. And I got off the phone call and he said, did you hear it? And I said, yeah, I heard that door slam solidly shut. He's like, I heard the same thing. And this person had nothing to do with what we were doing, but it was part of, and unbeknownst to them, it was part of me weighing out, like, should I or shouldn't I? Should we or shouldn't we? Do we or don't we? And so I learned a very, very valuable lesson that day for me personally was, okay, opportunity was what to do with opportunity. Yes or no, nothing in between. And so what that did for me personally, like if I look back at, you know, the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, the relational, the mental, and the financial, all right, um, it probably saved me some things financially, honestly. I did not get the mental duress that I probably would have had that one piece not, if I didn't know about that one piece and I moved forward, that probably could have had a negative impact. Spiritually, it just solidified some things where I was like, okay, I had been praying, okay, God, I need to know a yes or a no. And so it affirmed some things for me spiritually. Physically, I don't think it had a big physical impact, although it could have had a negative impact had I moved forward. Relationally, I was like, awesome. I got to see what I needed to see from the people that I was in these conversations with. It was miraculous because down the road, I was like, oh, thank goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. I didn't walk that out. However, prior to all of that, I literally sat like this, right? So because of my one word and having that focus for me was decisiveness, right? So opportunity was connected decisive. It needs to be hardcore, yes or no. And then the third year that I used the word opportunity, which goes against everything in the book. So don't listen to me, listen to the book and you'll have a different experience, I'm sure. But I used it for the third time because I was like, oh, I had all of this revelation. Number one, there are opportunities. And so if you're feeling defeated and you think that opportunities are for everybody else, it's not true. There are opportunities all over the place. Your brain just needs to be ready to hear it and see it. And then for getting these opportunities, knowing how I should walk them out. And then the third year for me for opportunity was like, okay, if I take these opportunities, sorry, let me back up. The third year for me was providing opportunity. I wanted to be somebody who could provide opportunity to other people, right? And so my opportunity then became the opportunity for other people. So you can kind of see how that has played out in my own life, right down the road. Some of the things that I have done have laid the groundwork and foundation for other people to have other opportunities. Real is one of those, right? That's much further down the road because these opportunity were, oh gosh, they were 2010, 11, and 12, I think, were the years. So it's interesting the impact that your word will have on you daily as you're walking it out, the impact that it will have on you in future casting for you. Decisions that you're making while you're walking and learning through your word are going to change the trajectory of your life. And that sounds all big and wooey, but here's the thing. If we aren't learning lessons from the life that we're leading, we're probably just are not paying attention. And we're going to have to repeat these lessons over and over and over again. Here's a question. How many times have you encountered the same frustration over the same issue over periods of time? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to raise both hands on that one. Like, I think I'm a pretty good quick study, but you know what? Sometimes these things are really close and I don't learn the lesson I need to learn. And so I keep getting handed the same tray of, you know, Cheerios and strawberries until I figure it out. And I think what happens is when I figure it out, then it frees me to learn the next level, the next step, because I actually have understood. Now, there are times there's relapse. There's dumb things I say and do, and I go, geez, where'd that come from? let's have a brush up, right? But these life experiences, these words where you have a focus and say, this is how I'm driving my life, and this is the focus that I want to go toward, those should have these impacts, right? You should be impacted in those 6 areas we mentioned. But here's the other side of this piece when you choose a word. Even though the word is personal to you, it gets walked out with the people you do life with. So if you're thinking about like, this is how I'm getting impacted, my spiritual life, my physical life, my emotional, my relational, mental, my financial, all of these areas are being personally impacted, it's very likely that they are bleeding out and impacting others. Maybe one of my focuses is that I want to kindness. Maybe kindness is something that I am lacking. And if I'm lacking kindness and I'm trying to build kindness in myself, what is that doing? It's going out, right? I'm being kind to people instead of impatient or frustrated. or instead of critical words, or, you know, nonverbals, that kind of stuff. I'm really good at those over the phone. It's awesome. Cause that's the one place I give myself freedom to do that. But, but my point is, all of those things have an impact on these people that you are connected with, right? So when we're talking about getting in these 6 areas that there would be an impact on your life, there will also then be an outward impact on the people you do life with. And so that's part of it, like why the impact that this one word can have. So in my journey with opportunity, right, I learned to look up. I had to like start paying attention. And you know, it'd be crazy. I could be in a restaurant and I could hear 5 tables over somebody talking about this new thing they're doing. It was insane, the things my brain would pick up. It's ridiculous anyway, but it's like that was, and then it would start noodling. Oh my gosh, that's actually a really good idea. I wonder if I should think about that, you know, and you start playing with all this stuff. So when you really figure out that this reticular activator, the piece in your brain, can then marry itself to your actions, right? So you've already said, this is my word. So my word for 2021 was connect. That's when we started Real in Arizona. I knew that what was missing for me, I had been in leadership and kind of away from the agent population. I really wanted to connect. I didn't like that isolation that I had had. It wasn't good for me in many ways, right? But I knew that I wanted to come back into connectivity. I also knew that we had lived, or actually I didn't know when we were starting because COVID was about to happen, right? Or did it happen in 20? Happened in 20. So we had been in this isolation place, right? So connection was going to be pretty easy for me to accomplish because so many other people were thirsty for that too, right? So that wasn't my motivation for doing it, but it was just kind of a side benefit because of how things rolled out. So connectivity or connection was my focus. And so that became very clear. I just need to be with more people. I need to talk to more people. I want to be in more relationship. So every year when we do this, I can look back and say, oh my gosh, that totally changed my everything. 22 was commitment. I hated how people would say, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you so long. We need to get together. All fizzled out. You never had anything. So I made 2022 my year of, if somebody said that to me, I stopped immediately, got into my phone, hit my calendar, or sent them a text message with my calendar link saying, hey, great to see you today. Fun to talk to you. I really do want to connect. Here's my calendar. Please find something. I was relentless about that in 2022 because I wanted that connection. I was tying 21 into 22, right? To commitment. Okay, now we're connected. Let's be committed to one another. So that was really important to me. And that was really important to me and my family. Commitments that I would make to drop kids off and pick kids up. Everything's in my calendar. I freaking live and die by my calendar. If it's not there, I don't do it, period. And if I told you I was going to do something and I didn't do it, it's because I didn't put it in my calendar. It's just that simple. And some of you have been on the receiving end of that, for which I'm really sorry. And I'm trying to make sure I'm not doing that anymore, because I need to go back to that lesson. And then 2023 for me was, I was built for hard things, right? I can do hard things. And that was because I knew that we were going to face some struggles, not just in our family, but definitely in our family, in our businesses, and in our culture, our world. And so I was like, listen, I need to be stronger than I am. And maybe I thought I was strong enough. I learned a lot of things. I am stronger today than I was this date last year, right? So these are the way these things have impacted my life. So, all right. Everybody have the concept of one word that will change your life? Are we missing anything? Because I don't want to belabor this, but I kind of want to move on, excuse me, to the next piece of this. Any questions or thoughts about your word that will change your life? Nope, absorbing. All right, sponges, let's go. All right, so how do we do this? Implementing it, right? Because once you have asked yourself those 3 questions and you funnel down to what your centralized word should be, then you got to figure out, like, what does that mean? Because like my word was opportunity, but it was like, I'm not on the job ads, right? Like what do I mean by opportunity? So get really clear about what you mean by your word, right? Like whatever that means. If you want to be, if gentleness is your word, let's say, all right, how can you walk out gentleness? How can you walk out kindness, goodness, whatever term you want, motivation, focus, stamina, whatever. Figure out what that word is and then what it's going to look like in those same 6 areas, right? What does it mean to have stamina financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually? What am I missing? Relationally. There we go. So what does it mean to have that, right? So if you're looking at these, you have to figure out what your word means to you and how you want that word to impact those 6 areas. Then you need to figure out how to implement it, right? So I talked to a guy the other day and his word was life. And I was like, whew, I don't even know how to do that. And so he was like, I want all of my words to be life-giving. I want what goes in my body to be healthy, right? So he changed his physical intake, what he was eating. He moved to life-giving foods. Mentally, what did that mean? How he prepared his mind every single day. Spiritually, all of it. He just was like, this is how life applies. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So in his head, every day is, okay, today's a life-giving day, right? Today is a life-receiving day. This is what I do. I'm exercising in a different routine that I've had before. I'm eating different foods that I've had before. He's focused on life. So when we do that, then we figure out how we can implement it into or integrate it into our lives. Here's the other thing. You need to get comfortable with your word and not comfortable with the fact that it's just this laissez-faire thing, but you need to start wearing it. It needs to be internalized for you. So I would suggest, Jaylene, what did you say? You make it your password, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, so I type it all the time.
Right. So it's there, it's present. Sticky notes on your mirror, notes. I have sticky notes that stick to my laptop. I have my screensaver has my word. You just start integrating it into everywhere you go. If you need to stick it on your refrigerator, if you need to hang it up in your office, something so that you have it, so it's permeating your thoughts. Stick a sticky note to your steering wheel. Everywhere you go, it needs to be there. That will help you really gel with your word, okay? And it will help you start to think, oh, this is what that looks like. Because what happens is things will start to happen in your life and you don't actually realize they're connected to your word until you're reminded, oh my gosh, that was my word. So some of it rolls that way. One of the things the book talks about is to create a stretch team. And a stretch team is somebody that you share your word with who just checks in with you to see how things are going. It's not an appointment. It's just somebody that you walk through life with. My commitment this year through the course of Lions and Legends, pardon me, is I'm going to occasionally bring this up because I'm going to ask, so how are things going? Who has a word? What's your word? What's that look like? Because I want us to stay encouraged by this concept. Normally I don't promote like these little goofy things, but I really feel like this is such an opportunity to have an impact in your life that you actually feel in control of. There's so much in our world that's out of control, but you're going to choose your word. You're going to get comfortable with your word, and then you're going to walk it out in something that's meaningful to you. And so this isn't a task list of every day you have to, do this mantra of your word. It's nothing. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking that you're open to it, because when you get open to it, your behavior will actually change because you are personally motivated and inspired and interested to do what it takes to make your word come alive. And that's why the word has to be very personally identified by you. Like, I can't give you your word. You have to give you your word. If you're a praying person, I would say spend some time in prayer. If you're a meditation person, spend some time meditating. Like, whatever it is, spend that quiet time. And by the way, that time should be completely undistracted, right? No, no cell phones, no music, no TV, not out in public, somewhere quiet where you can be just by yourself with your thoughts. Some of you are going to take days to come up with your word. Some of you already know it instantly before we're going to hang up today. And some of you are going to take, maybe by tomorrow you'll know. But I think what happens is we already all know what void there is in our life or things that we need to do better, right? Start with that. And so, okay, what is it, right? Go back to those questions. What do I need? What do I need? My word for 2024, by the way, is more. And not more from a greed place, but more. I need to, when I think I'm done, I need to do more. When I can give, I think I've given all I can give, I need to give more. Can I extend more kindness, more gratitude, more goodness, more thoughtfulness? It's just more. And so I'm not planning to be extra because that's not where I'm at. But I'm planning to be more this year. And the reason for that is I think it's very easy for each of us to get complacent in our own personal growth. We are in the craziest industry that spends the most amount of money than any other industry in coaching and self-help is the real estate industry. And by that, I mean all of our affiliate partners, title, lending, mortgage, home warranty, everybody, right? We are in this ecosystem that says you're more amazing if you have a coach. You're more amazing if you've gone to 48 conferences and you carry all the badges and wear all the lanyards, right? Like we just live in this space of this self-improvement place that we're so good at taking the information, but we are not good at actually using it and pushing it back out. We just are big information collectors. And so if we get to this place where we say, okay, I have a personal word that means something to me, then I can actually do something about it, right? And so for me, mine is more. I want more. I want more of everything. And maybe that doesn't necessarily mean I want more trouble or like I'm not signing up for that. I did that last year. But what I am saying is that when I find myself in those places, I can be more understanding. I can be more of a listener. I can be more in tune, right? So for me, my word is more. Very comfortable with my word. I didn't expect that to be my word. In fact, I had a couple others that I was considering, and this one just keeps hitting me right in the face. So that's my example for you about how you're going to identify your word. Anybody have any thoughts or questions or things you just want to share?
Well, I really like what, oh, hold on. I forgot her name and I want to look at it. It's in chats. Her name is Danielle. Thank you. Because I was sitting here thinking about my word and I really should have a face here. Hold on. How rude of me to speak without a face.
There you go.
I've been sitting here thinking about my word and two words were, what's that word you use? Vacillating.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that scared me the most was the one that the inside of my head was going, this is your word. Kind of like when God's talking to you and you're thinking to yourself, shh, other little voice, quiet. So thanks, Danielle, for saying if it's the word that scares me or seems the most difficult, because that's what I just wrote on my calendar in big green letters. And my word is promise.
Oh, excellent.
Keeping promises to myself, to others, remembering to read God's promises daily, just because commitment was the other thought, but promise is what really hits
There
home.
you go.
Chris is sitting here as usual off in the corner, but he's here every Monday with us. His word is accomplish.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah. So see how much those words are, I think every word is powerful, right? Like you guys know, I'm such a word nerd anyway, and how, we don't pay, excuse me, attention sometimes to the way that we speak and the words that we use. But when we start to pay attention and you break down, serve, I love that, Richie. It's so good for you. you know, when we start to break down the meaning of these words, like I would encourage you, when you figure out what your word is, look it up in the dictionary, and then go next level and look at a thesaurus and see what all the other synonyms are for your word. Because I think what happens is we start to give life to these other words, and they then have a bigger impact on our lives and our thinking. Wow. So excellent. Anybody else want to share anything?
My word this year is elevate.
Elevate. Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
Share with you is that I think it's important for the word to kind of choose us. So if we go looking for a word, or we think, oh, this word sounds interesting, I'm going to focus on this, sometimes we're missing really what we need in our lives. And as a Christian, for myself, I look for things that I feel like God is speaking over me in a multitude of ways. So last week, and it's ironic, maybe not ironic, that we're talking about words today, because I was given my word last week, which is attitude. And am I going to have an attitude of gratefulness? Am I going to have an attitude of kindness? Am I going to not let things affect my attitude and bring me to a lower place in attitude? So I think instead of choosing a word, seek the word that's actually being spoken over you.
Yeah, it's a good point. Well, that's the point of, you know, prayer and meditation, right? Is really just sitting with that so that you can hear and know in your own head, hey, this is where we're at, and this is what I should do. It's good. Anybody else? Okay. Well, for the sake of our lives, I don't just draw this out to 11 o'clock because we block it off for 11. If we're done, we're done. But super happy to see your faces today. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to do 2024 together. Lots of good things for us ahead. Probably launching, I'd spoken with a couple of weeks ago. Oh gosh, now it's probably been longer than that. But a while back, I talked about launching a book club in 2024. So I'm probably launching that in February. I'm figuring out everything, and I think I've identified the list of books to go from. I think what we'll do is we'll start with one, and we'll make a commitment to do one book. And if we all like each other, we'll keep going. And if we don't, we won't. So I'm pretty easy. I don't have any horse in the race on this one. I just feel like it's kind of something that gives us another opportunity for community and connection, and to grow together personally, professionally, in our business lives, you know, together. I mean, we're in business, and so we need to have some sort of centralized focus on helping us be better at what we're doing, and we can do that together. So anyway, that we'll throw that out there in February. I'll let you guys kind of know, but if you have an interest, send me a little text or something. I have a few names on the list. Cindy, I see you waving.
Yes, I have a question. So you had mentioned that you use Calendarly, and you have sent that link to me a few times in the past to use. But when I go to open it up now, it says that it's for real appointments, for agent information. So do you use a different calendar? Like if I wanted to do a coffee with you in connection for life, not just to talk
Sure.
about
There's a place in there for notes. So I have a standard thing that I send. In fact, we've talked about the shortcuts on my phone, right? So in my text, I will type CCC. That will automatically drop in the way I have it set up for texting, or for shortcuts. It'll drop in what I've put in there. So it'll say, I don't know, looking forward to spending some time with you. Here's my calendar link. Schedule something that works for you. I use one. You can use different links if you want. I just use one because I have it pre-programmed in my phone to send it that way. And so I can hit send, and you can go in. And then in the calendar, it says there's an opportunity for you to leave notes. You can just write a note and just say, I mean, obviously I'm going to know for you, it's not about hanging out real, but a lot of my conversations are that way. So yeah, you can just put in notes and say, this is what we're going to do.
It says that they're all Zooms. Do you not do in-persons, or are they all Zooms?
No, I leave them all as Zoom. And if someone wants to meet in person, then it's just, we communicate. Usually I'll bounce back and say Zoom or in person, you know, best for you.
Okay.
But my autoresponder is Zoom.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks for answering
And
that.
if you don't use Calendly, you guys should. It's so easy.
Can I butt in really quickly? You were talking about
Yes,
reading
absolutely.
books. So there's a book called Creating Superfans, and it's by Brittany Hodak. So she is actually doing a master class for us at Choice Home Warranty coming up, and I'm going to be doing a watch party for that. It's going to be February 9th. I'm ironing out the details, but if you might be interested in reading this book about creating super fans, basically turning customers into lifelong advocates in your business, something you might want to take a peek at. So just a little
Right.
added benefit.
Love it. Love it. Love it. February 9th. So that's sharp. You guys can connect with her and get deets on that or follow her on social because I know she'll post it because that's who she is. So we love that. All right, you guys, I hope you have a super great week. Thanks so much for joining in today. We will look forward to seeing your lovely faces next Monday. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Hi, Kimberly.
Bye.
Hey.